top 10 scenes of the year. And this is coming out a day before my top 10 best of the year list comes out. I just wanted to talk about scenes, and what I was trying to capture with this list was movies that I just necessarily didn't get to talk about on either of my best or worst lists. These are movies that I kind of feel like are underrepresented. So there are movies that are not included. I will just give a spoiler. Oppenheimer is indeed on my best of year list. And there's like 5 to 10 scenes on here. This could have been the 10 best scenes of Oppenheimer, and they probably would have coexisted with the top 10 scenes of the year. So Oppenheimer's not on here. I tried going with a little bit of different picks here and there to just add some flavor and also just kind of spread the love, because this is a channel all about talking and loving films. So I have 10 films on this list, and we're going to kickstart at number 10. Number 10, maybe some will consider it a cheat, but when you're the most important celebrity in the world right now, when you just get named Time Person of the Year, I'm going to honor you on this list. And also, as a big fan of Taylor Swift and someone who got to go to the Eras Tour this year, then getting to see it in theaters, Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, this was such an exciting experience. And this is a moment that got me hyped at the tour. And this is a moment that got me hyped in the theater just due to the sound design, everything going on stage. This is Welcome to the Reputation Era is coming in as my 10th favorite scene in a movie this year. It is just the perfect encapsulation of the Reputation era. I believe the sound design is just incredible. It is just all of my favorite album that Taylor has ever done. Is just a perfect example of everything that Taylor Swift achieved in the Reputation era. And yeah, I don't feel any guilt. Taylor Swift deserves this to be on this list just because of the monumentous achievement that she's had this year. And that's why I feel comfortable saying Reputation era is coming in at my number 10. Coming in at my number 9, I had a few scenes that I was debating whether to put on this list from Barbie. And ultimately, I landed on the I'm Just Ken number because this is such a one extremely catchy song. This takes the best performance out of Barbie in Ryan Gosling, and it just kind of shows the strength of him. And it's also just an incredible achievement on Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig as writer and as Greta Gerwig, the director. Just the complete control that they had on this story. It is coming in at number 8, and this is a film that I've spent little time talking about this year. I was very mixed on this film. However, there's one scene in Saltburn that I just found just incredible, and it's just the what works so well about Emerald Fennell as a director. And the scene that I'm specifically referring to, it's at the lunch table with all of our characters. Something has just transpired, but no one is talking about it. And the curtains close and this red light glows, and it becomes this surrealist, almost horror-like quality to the film. And it just becomes this visual that just got burned into my memory. And it makes me remember the parts of Saltburn that I liked and not necessarily the parts that I wasn't as fond of. I just think Emerald Fennell is such a talented director, and while I do have issues with her writing, this is encompassing why I think she is such an exciting filmmaker. Coming in at number 7, this is an easy one because when Godzilla starts stomping on a city, I'm just there for it. And no film does it better this year than Godzilla Minus One. No film has ever done destruction of Godzilla better. I mean, just truly, when Godzilla goes into this Japanese city and just starts leveling it, it is just like incredible, exciting filmmaking. Like, I'm just pumping my fist. I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I've never seen a film do it this well. And there's nothing else to really say about it except that this was just a scene that excited me. And how else was I supposed to respond to it than just being like, all right, well, this has become an all-time rewatchable for me. And I'll just be able to turn on these scenes of Godzilla just leveling towns, and I'll be like, yep, I'm having a great time. Sometimes the movie theater experience is all about just having a great time and enjoying something and just capturing exactly what you want it to do. And Godzilla Minus One does that tenfold. Coming in at number 6, this scene has been discussed a lot this year, and I don't have much to add for it, except that in John Wick Chapter 4, when he goes to Paris, this like 10-minute sequence is the best. This is stunt choreography at its best. This is the stunts telling the story, and it uses the Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton pratfalls to wonderful effects. And specifically, the moments that I'm talking about is the car chase scene in Paris, but specifically right after it when he is fighting someone on the stairs and John Wick and him just keep tumbling over and over again. It's just so visceral. It's just such an incredible beat of comedy in this movie. Coming in at number five, David Fincher is a brilliant, brilliant man because he leads this movie to start it with a joke. And this joke goes on for 15 minutes, and you don't really know where the joke is going. But then, when the character of the killer, and spoiler alert, misses the shot, but he's just spent the last 15 minutes talking about how incredible, how great he is at his job. It's one of the funniest jokes I've ever seen in a movie. Like, just straight up, this was such a sick, sadistic joke. And it is the premise of this movie. What if this guy who believed himself to be so good at something actually kind of just keeps messing up and is doing a bad job at the job that he says he is great at? This movie is very comedic in tone, and this scene in The Killer is just one of the all time openers. And it is using the methodical nature of David Fincher, something that he is so well known for as a director. And it is very much David Fincher poking fun at his image as a director. Coming in at number four, this one is a spoiler, and it was when going into the movie, I just didn't know that this was an event that happened. Thus, in Ferrari, when we're in this final race and we're at this moment, and it's so exciting. And then you just see something left on the road, and you start seeing these characters, especially children, running out to go see as these cars pass by. And you realize, because Michael Mann slows down the film, and you're like, oh, that tire is going to pop and that car is going to go flying. And when the car just levels all 12 people, it's horrific. It is so upsetting visual imagery, especially when we just see the person like chopped in half and we know that there's kids just in that wreckage. I had such a reaction watching it. Like, I didn't know it was coming. Two, I was just like, oh, okay, so this is what this movie is about. People so self-focused on themselves and trying to achieve this race and, win win the prize, that they don't realize the expense of which it comes for, and everything that they have sacrificed, what it actually means in the face of tragedy. And that's what Ferrari is exploring. And I loved it for it. And this is the moment that I've been hinting at, when the film went from really good to great. And I just was so in awe of what Michael Mann achieved in Ferrari and its final like 15 minutes. Coming in at number three, I'm calling this scene Starting a Band, which is the moment at the end of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And I think it achieves the most important thing that this final scene has to do, which is get you excited for the next film in this trilogy. And that's what Starting a Band does when we're getting the music, which is just incredible music throughout. But in this scene, it's echoing the beginning of Gwen Stacy's music that we hear at the beginning of the film. It is just, I was so excited when we start seeing like characters like Spider-Man Noir pop up, Spider-Ham all coming in, and it's all them just assembling to save Miles Morales. And it achieved, like I said, the most important thing. Right when this movie finished, I'm like, okay, I need to see part three right now. Like, I need to see how this ends. And that is just a testament to this filmmaking, that I was just so hooked into this story, and I just can't wait to see the next one. And yeah, it's everything that Spider-Man has done so well, and it's such an emotional catharsis moment that I have when we see all those characters coming together. And it's a true comic book leave you hanging moment where you're just like, oh, that's the final panel. And I'm really excited to see what happens next. It just understands the comic book medium so well, and I'm so happy that we have this movie in existence. Coming in at number two, this is a monologue scene delivered by Matt Damon in the film Air. This is the scene where he is pitching Michael Jordan on greatness and what that means. And everyone in this room will be forgotten except Michael Jordan if he signs with Nike, and he's going to make us believe that we can fly. This is an inspirational speech done perfectly. And I had a great time with Air. And this is the scene that just really surmises why I enjoyed this. And this is like, there's moments of other great dialogue in Air. Jason Bateman has a really good monologue. Viola Davis has a really good monologue earlier on. But everything leads to this pitch that Matt Damon's character gives to Michael Jordan, and it pays off. And it is, like I said, it's just one of those inspirational speeches that I go back to on YouTube, like I do with Remember the Titans, or I do with Al Pacino's speech in the basketball movie that I'm blanking on right now. But it's just those moments where it's just like, oh, okay, this is completely inspirational and I'm completely bought in. And being a fan of The Last Dance and everything, and being just, a huge Michael Jordan fan, this scene worked for me. Coming in at number one, I've coming in at number one, this sequence is so beautiful to me because it is talking about grief. It is talking about our existence and how little we are, and how everyone can just and how everyone can just share in this moment in disbelief. And it's such a wondrous moment, and it's specifically due to the lighting and choreography of it, mixed with the Wes Anderson nature of his visual style. And it's when the aliens land in Asteroid City. The way that the screen just turns green is just, I just think it's some of the best color design I've seen in a movie this year. And it's a scene that just, it really just made me feel little, because that is what this point of this scene is. We're all just kind of in marvel and awe of what's happening. And it cuts across the pettiness of what these characters are facing, or the challenges that they're facing. Whether it's Jason Schwartzman's character grieving over the loss of his wife, whether it's the kids grieving over the loss of their mother, all these things that are being discussed, for a moment they have levity as they are all watching in wonder as this alien lands. And it's such a scene with incredible use of humor. When the character smiles for the photograph, I was just in awe of this scene, and I love it. And it's my favorite scene of 2023. So do you agree? Are there other ones that I missed? I know I missed a lot, but these are my 10. So thank you all for watching this video, and tune back in tomorrow, January 2nd, when I do my top 10 best films of 2023.
I'm just